Preparing to live stream the meeting. Got it.
Got it. Good afternoon. And we're on.
Are we live?
Yes, we are.
I think we are. Hey, there we are.
Hello,
We're
everyone.
live. Woohoo. We did it on time.
Awesome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's 9 out of 10 testers panel. Sorry, pregnancy brain. Right. Today we're going to tackle the world of certifications. I'm sure all of you, as well as we know it's a hot topic in our industry. So you've probably been asked if you're certified or not when going to a job interview. I'm not sure. You could get both positive reaction to being certified or negative, depends on the employer, really. So this is what we're going to tackle today, but we're going to start with a short round of introductions. So Sanna, how about you kick us off?
Great. Of course, my throat tickles as soon as you say that. Hi, my name is Sanne Visser. I work for a large corporate IT consultant, Capgemini. I'm currently working as a test manager for a governmental organization. And just full disclosure, we sell testing certifications. So let that be coloring your view of whatever I say today.
Right, moving on, Viole.
Hi, my name is Veerle Verhagen. I'm currently a software tester for Dutch Railways.
And Shay.
Hey, I'm Shay Crompton. I am Senior Quality Engineering Manager at EasyJet. Working on 100 billion gajillion apps all at the same time. So it's good fun. Yeah, it's good to say. It's good to be there. Really enjoying it.
And should we address the elephant currently not in the room?
Yeah. Are we calling Chris an elephant?
No, Chris, I'm so sorry.
Yes, Chris is on holiday, so that's why he's missing this session today. And yeah, I should introduce myself as well.
Yes.
I'm Hanna Slander, and I work as a quality catalyst at Devo Team Creative Tech. And that's where I run out of breath because that's a long sentence. So, should we start off with? Do we have any certifications here in the group?
Yep.
Yeah.
ISTQB.
Got it. How many though? How many?
Just the one.
I've got 2.
I've got 3.
You win.
You win.
Oh my God, the queen.
Bloody
the
hell.
Queen of ISTQB.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I should have 2. I don't think I did the exam for the last one still. I think that's been 3 years pending. But I did the course.
It's the best way for ISTQB, isn't it? Have it pending.
That actually reminds me, I still have a code somewhere to do like a Scrum product owner exam.
Certification.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if those ever expire. Do they?
I got a leadership certification. Does that count?
I don't know.
Like, who certified you? Was it you?
Because that's the point, isn't it?
The Institute of Leadership and Management, darling. I went official.
Nice.
Never heard of it.
It's kind of sounds like Ministry of Testing. Like, sure, it's a really good organization, but it's not really a ministry, is it?
Isn't it?
Oh man.
Anyway,
there we go. Sorry, Simon.
Oh, sorry. Simon is in the chat, so better not be slagging off the Ministry of Testing. I'm not. I think it's a really great organization, but just to say, like, if they got a seat in Parliament, I'd be super impressed. Anyway, so we've all got ISTQB. I think Sanna and I, because we're both Dutchies, I think we've got a special one. Sanna, you've got Team Up as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do have Team Up. And in fact, I'm going up for another one this year. If we get that programmed in, we're looking to do the new Team Up for DevOps.
I didn't realize anybody was still doing Team Up.
Oh.
You have opinions about that one.
No, You know what? I'm kind of neutral, but I always feel like everybody else has all the opinions about team up, and they're not good.
That's true. That's true. But we officially, of course, as having Society as our sister company, we officially sell TMAP as the test certification, and we do require all of our testers to be TMAP certified. So that is a big, big thing in our company, logically, which again is why I'm recertifying this year's, well, not really recertifying, doing the new course, the updated course, because I'm curious. It has been, like a lot of people in our chat, at least 15, 16 years since I did mine first. And honestly, the body of knowledge has changed. But yeah, that's one of the biggest issues or things I have about certifications. They get outdated so quickly. Like, it's very hard for them to stay up with our field of work because everything changes really fast. And let's be honest, certifications don't.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a bit interesting actually, because I mean, the ISTQB certifications are for life once you get them. I mean, whereas a lot of certifications in other fields you have to retake quite regularly. But of course, if you've done the ISTQB, you know it for life and nothing ever changes, right?
Isn't that just the foundation though? Once you go up a level, that's when they try to slam you for more money every 10 years or something.
Is that how it works? I'm sure there's like certification business models. I'm sure there must be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Christian is reminding us the Scrum Alliance certs expire. I remember that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can renew by paying a fee yearly.
So yeah, you pay a fee here. Take my money. Oh look, I'm certified.
Scam,
la 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 la. You know.
That sounds really interesting.
Before we properly get into all the certs and all the ones we hate and love, Hannah, I'm wondering which ones you have, because you being the only Scandi on the panel,
and the only true DevOps tester as well.
Also, yeah,
exactly. Well, I can add that I did take my certifications while I was still working in Waterfall, so there it's a bit more of a thing. But I've got the ISTQB Foundation, the Test Analyst, and the Test Manager one.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some learning commitment that was done there for sure.
That's hardcore, man.
I mean, I really enjoyed it, to be honest, but that was before I had actually attended testing conferences, because they also get to meet like-minded people. But it was really interesting to do the course. I did my courses in the UK because they're half price to what they want in Sweden. Believe it or not,
traveling.
It was actually cheaper to both. Well, it was half price for the course, and it was cheaper to both fly and live, stay in London than to fly and stay in Stockholm, which is ridiculous. But I mean, I'll take a free trip to London from my work.
That is so wild. That is so wild.
Since we've broached the topic anyway, pricing is like a big thing, like business model around it, renewing, but also just the barrier to entry. Because that's the one thing, like in my company, of course, because we do sell the thing, if you do the certification, it doesn't cost you or your department much of anything. But from outside looking in, these things can be 1,000, 2,000, or even more euros. And for most people, that's prohibitively expensive. Like if your employer does not go for comping you that trip to London to do your ISTQB, like that's it, that you're just not going to do the certification. And that to me has always felt very fundamentally unfair, because if you're in a low paying job and you're trying to enter, that's a big barrier. I do feel that should be cheaper.
Yeah, I guess that applies to all education, which should be free, obviously, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think certifications, I mean, a lot of them are checkbox exercises after, and it's like, say, like with the, let's go for a bigger one like Prince 2 or something like that. You could study yourself on your own, do self-study, and then pay whatever it is in the UK. Like when I looked like 10, 15 years ago, it's about 400 quid just for the exam, right? Or you go and you pay $2,000 and you spend 3 days in a hostel and you just basically get hot housed the Prince 2, and then you take the exam at the end. Now, what is the use of that 3 day like hot housing? Does that make any difference? I don't know, because
Well,
you're not going to come out. It's not like fucking Neo where you go, oh, look, I know Kung Fu. Yay. You know, and then all of a sudden you're like leading the world. You're going to go out and you go, I've got the certificate. What was it about? Don't know.
So the focus becomes memorization instead of understanding, I think, is the big downfall of those. But the other side of it is what Hannah mentioned. It can, for a lot of people, be the first time they get into contact with peers. And actually the deepening of that, realizing you're part of a professional community, talking to peers, talking to those same people, especially in the later ISTQB courses, I felt there was a heck of a lot more discourse in the sessions I was in. That made a big difference. But
I'm even gonna take us one step further back, because I know I constantly shit on TMAP especially. But before, like, I was being trained to become a tester. I'd never worked in IT before, and so I was being trained up by like a consultancy. And one of the first things they said was like, all right, this is ISTQB, you're gonna learn all of this. So they gave me a syllabus and they were like, read it, and then when you're ready, you'll take the exam. And for me, that was the first time I learned about software testing and about testing techniques and about what kind of things you need to think about. So I feel like it gets a lot of shit, including from me. But the reason that I slag it off is not because I think it is entirely worthless, but because it kind of presents itself as more than it is. But as, let's say, as a fundament for a beginning tester who's never done any testing, I think it's quite useful. Because where else are you going to learn about testing?
Well, it does...
you know what, and I say to people if they're coming into testing. In fact, there's somebody local to me who wants to get into testing as a complete career change, and I said, look, go and get the ISTQB book and read it, and then you at least know the vocabulary that has been talked by the testers around you. There's no ready reckoner. I mean, it's one of those things that Sebastian is saying. It's like, you know, there's where can I study testing? There's no like regular class or whatever, and they're getting a bit more now. I mean, TAU does stuff from an automation point of view and does teach some of the fundamentals, but there's nothing out there. I mean, there's a couple of LinkedIn courses that kind of try to teach you it, and they're a bit meh.
Yeah, but there's no formal education. Like there's no.
Well, yes and no.
In Sweden they have like these working courses where you have like I think it's a year or something where you study testing.
Ooh. That's
and all computers, pretty much all computer sciences have at least an elective minor in testing, if not just have it part of their programs.
Yeah, but then but that's still focused on people who are already doing some kind of computer science course, right?
Definitely. It's part of an existing courseware for sure. But the thing I wanted to come back to, which both of you mentioned, which I think is the point and why you have them read that book, it's industry recognition. At the very least, it's the jargon, it's the language we speak, it's the terms we use, and it's the stuff we kind of feel most of us should at least be able to place, whether we agree or disagree with method or practice or philosophy, school of thought. At least it sets you up for like a beginning journey on your own. Like, here's what we think in testing is stuff you need to know.
Yeah, just the common language helps when getting started to like understand when people talk and like not be totally excluded. So for that purpose, I think it's great. But for me, I think that it was mainly going to the course and seeing people. That was like the best thing with it.
Nice.
Conferences are better for that, in my opinion. There's a lot more people than at a course.
Yeah, but let's also recognize that, like, flat out, most of the time, not having that certificate will block you from getting that first job or next job. Like, it is absolutely a selection factor, and we still get it as requirements on like requests for consultants all the time. Needs to have TMAP test manager or ISTQB or equivalent.
Okay, but there I often feel that it is a lack of knowledge about testing from the industry. So people don't really know how they can estimate whether somebody is a good tester or not, because they lack the knowledge. And so they go for this sort of easy factor of, well, do they have this certificate? Because if they have this certificate, surely it can't be all bad.
Yeah, that's their philosophy. And it is a value signal. It is that industry recognition again, where somehow you try to get a proxy for skill and knowledge, which of course are two different things. I understand that, but it is a signal factor and a barrier to entry.
I think it's just recruiters being lazy.
There we go.
Oh, look. Oh, yeah. I've got into your company and I'm Mr. Recruiter, and you'd like to recruit some testers. So anyway, we'll make sure everybody has a nice ISTQB for you, sir, because that's the industry standard, and we're so cool that we can say ISTQB because we have no fucking clue what it is, but we can still say it at you and know that's something to be. There's a T there, which must mean testing. Yeah. Okay. Let's go off and find people who are inadequate for the job role that you've described, but they've got ISTQB. Yay. Pay me loads of money. There you go.
It is lazy. It is often very lazy. And it is a proxy that is unhelpful when it's used to select people suited for a testing role, I think. I agree with you there, actually, Veerle.
Particularly test managers. I mean, look, if you're a junior tester getting into testing, and it says on your CV, hey, look, I've done something around the ISTQB, and you know what, when I did rapid software testing years and years ago, Mike Bolton was like, if you have to put ISTQB on your CV, put currently studying ISTQB. There you go. You've got the keyword done. And if they go, oh, you must have that for this job, you go, all right, and then you trundle off to an exam center and do your epoxy bloody, hit the buttons like a monkey kind of thing. But beyond that, you've got past the keyword search, haven't you? So there's a top tip, kids.
Yeah, it is a really good tip. Do use that.
You know what? I actually learned the same trick, except like not even putting currently studying, which is like putting it in white somewhere so that it's like invisible to human readers, but the machines pick up on it.
Yeah. In the
I also know people who've put in not XXX certified and then a whole rant underneath why they refuse to, which also signals knowledge, and I feel it's quite a power move. I like it personally.
Oh man, Simon, I'm going to get that on a t-shirt, mate. Thanks. Yep, love it. I'll wear that to a MOT event for sure.
Lazy recruiters require a certification.
Yeah. Hey, no, I think for juniors, just coming back around. Look, if you're a junior and you're coming into there and you just pick up the damn book and have a read, that's great.
Yeah. I like the points as well. I think it was Sebastian who mentioned it. It's like, it becomes a thing that you just do. No, Steve mentioned it. It's like you just learn enough to pass the exam and then you toddle off and do the work you're doing and learn there and continue your learning. So it becomes a sort of like a pass start to receive 200. It's just a check mark that you keep hitting in your career again and again. It's like, oh, I gotta get certified again and go around.
So here's the thing, right? So you get these certificates that we all know and hate, like TMAP, like ISTQB, like all the letter ones. And then a while ago I did Shay, you mentioned RST, the rapid software testing one, which I did a while ago, and I did something that is sort of in the same philosophy, I think, which was CPAT. So it's the Certified Practitioner of Agile Testing.
That is so sexy.
It's really sexy. I'm pretty sure it was developed by the Agile Testers, which is a Dutch testing company, and I think I was actually one of the test groups too, so I got it quite early on, and I thought it was a really cool course. And I thought they taught some really good stuff, and it's like a little bit about philosophy, and it's about like how can you really determine what quality is, not just about like testing techniques. So I thought it was really good training. And then we did the exam at the end, and like the exam is always such an anticlimax because you're like, we learned all of these wonderful things, we learned all of these meta things that go a lot further than just which test technique would you use for this problem. And so at that point I was like, does a certificate really add any value here? Like, people can see on my CV, oh, Veerle took this training. I could also just put on my CV, I took this training. Like, who cares about a certificate? Who cares after I did 3 days of training whether I managed to answer correctly 30 multiple answer questions?
Yeah, it comes back to the laziness in selection of people doing intakes, because it does kind of matter, because if you did the course and you tackle 30, that does signal a lack of interest in your courseware and a lack of engagement. So there is a tie to having absorbed something, but it also signals a distrust in your program participants, because you feel you need to externally validate what they've learned.
No, and the other thing is that if I'm so disinterested in the course that I don't manage to answer these 30 questions correctly, I kind of feel like people will know based on the work that I do, based on the answers I give them in an interview.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we shouldn't need a one-time exam to unmask me as not interested in testing. Like, I think people will find out.
Yeah, but also those multiple choice questions, what's up with always making them so you have to read them like 4 times because they're so freaking close to each other?
They have to make you feel like you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah, but for people who are not native English speakers, that's really a struggle. And fair enough, for the ISTQB, you do get extra time to do it. But like, if your English is not that good, it could still be a problem, because all the sentences sound almost the same, and it might translate into the same thing in your head. So how much does it really add to it?
Yeah, Chris and I have a really good friend, Emna Ayadi, shout out to her. She has just recently recorded a LinkedIn course on testing in French, and I will very dedicatedly watch and do her course in French. And I can tell you right now, I am going to struggle like mad just because of the language factor. And yeah, it's a disadvantage for anyone that, does not have that native language benefit. Although, to be fair to ISTQB, it is translated now into so many languages that is getting better and better.
Yeah, that's good. I had to take mine in English, but it's not a big problem. Obviously, I went to take the course in the UK. It's
fair enough.
Not a problem.
God, I'm glad I wouldn't have to take it in Dutch or Swedish or anything like that. I think you're all bloody legends for when you're doing your courses. If you end up having to do them in English and smashing it out, that's just, you should get extra credit for that or something. It's bloody amazing.
I want to do a little well, I don't have a prize to give away, but like as a little bonus question for the people in the chat, because I don't think any of us know. What does ISTQB stand for?
Oh, ISTQB. First fingers on the button.
No, don't tell. I want to hear it from the comments.
Crap, but I don't even know.
All right, exactly. That's why I'm asking the chat.
Yeah, small prize.
I studied this quality book. I studied this quality book.
No Googling. No Googling.
I shall test quality bread. Yes. We can all get behind that one. Yeah.
Hey, that's going back to what shall we call ourselves? A little bit of meta there. Thanks, Simon.
My God, bread technician, bread engineer.
That's
engineer. That was
nice throwback there.
Yeah, I think Christian's right on it there. International Software Testing Quality Board. I think that's what it is.
I think it is too.
So when we all run around and go, hey, I've got my ISTQB, it's similar. It's in the anti to saying I've got a PIN number, isn't it? I've got my ISTQB. None of those are qualification or something like that. I've got my ISTQB.
I got my ISTQBQ.
Yeah, that's it. ISTQBQ. So that's 4 times fast. I tell you what, bloody hell.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I like Simon's better as well, Christian. I think that's it. I'm going to put that in brackets on my CV now. I think, yeah. I think we've got to do that. So we got TMAP, we got ISTQB.
Oh, there's a whole bunch more.
Yeah. What about? I'm interested. Like, I think Christian mentioned something about the Scrum Master stuff. Like, I heard like something like if you with one of the 2 schools of being a Scrum Master, you actually have to go to some events and build up points to sort of like show your Scrum Mastery, kudos. What do you think of that kind of thing? So yeah, you've done your checkbox exercise, and they give you a hat and a scarf or something like that, and send you off into the brave new world. But you're not fully qualified until you've attended some talks around what you've just learned. What do you think of that as an idea?
I know it from other professions like accountancy and this type of other that have professional certifications as well, that have the same kind of standards or they have them, we try to emulate them. They have the same system where you earn points every year and you have to have those points every year or you lose your qualification. So it's really tied to your professionalship. I think it's really good. I'm not sure if the example you gave is very, very commercial, but I think the general idea that every year you prove your stuff by adding to what you know and attending some events to discourse with your peers. Yeah, I like it. I like the idea of having that as, so we set a standard and you have to at least every year again show us that you're keeping up.
Yeah.
Would that make the ISTQB worth getting if they did that?
That's a really interesting philosophical question.
Yeah. Sorry, that's big devil horns. There we go.
I think because it is the discourse I value so highly. If that was the way to get points and the easiest way to get points, like go attend a local discussion on any of these new topics. Yeah, I think I'd go get my ISTQB points every year. But then I go anyway. So this is like a very self-selecting bias here.
Yeah, and you know what? I think if ISTQB were to give you a way to renew your points every year, it wouldn't be by doing the things that you're currently doing. So I'm honestly not sure I trust them that much.
No,
because I don't really feel like that's why I guess part of what I was trying to say earlier. Like I think for a beginning tester, it's a really useful tool because you learn some of the basics and some of the basic vocabs and some of the basic techniques. But after that, after you've reached that basis, like I don't really feel like it has more to offer. And I feel like the thing that Hannah said, like conferences are a lot better for that, because I think that's where innovation happens and where people start thinking about problems in different ways. And it's not just like this is a technique you can use for this type of problem, but it's more, it goes deeper and it goes higher and it goes more philosophical.
Yeah, I personally think while working for companies like consultancies, it's probably easier to get through to get to go to do a certification or do a course that they can put in your CV than to go to a conference. I would guess, because they want to still sell you. I don't think they'd be like, oh, you've gone to this conference, because it doesn't really necessarily mean that active. I mean, personally, I'd prefer it, but I think it could make it tricky to sell as well. I'm guessing that's
devil's advocate question. If it hadn't been required of you for your job, would you have done the cert?
The foundation, yes. The other ones, probably not.
Straight up. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, mine technically wasn't required for my job, but my company at the time paid for it, so I kind of did it. So yeah, but like before I got back into testing, I was a project manager and I was looking to do the Prince 2, and just looking at the sheer prices, I was like, no freaking chance. You know, go back to what you're saying. Like, you know, I saw like for me to continue as a project manager, I'd need this certification to get a new job. And it was just like, holy crap, guys. And I'd been made redundant at that point as well. So I was without a job, a little bit of money in my pocket, but that had to pay for my house and my family. I'm not going to go and spend like fucking $3,000 on a stupid poxy certification that might get me a job, might. So it's like, why do I do that? And this is the problem with certification companies, is this whole sort of like they only give two shits about the corporate clients who can go, hey, we'll send 100,000 people, you know, 100,000 pounds, no worries, we'll just send everybody down. No, you know.
This is so I feel like in
IT,
like IT runs this parallel economy that has nothing to do with like the normal economy, where like there's amounts of money going around there that you're like, these are made up figures. Like paying 3,000 quid for a certificate, like who comes up with that? Who has that kind of money? Well, obviously only the corporate giants do. And at that point, it becomes like this whole parallel economy where like, what does money even mean?
But that's and you know, you think about what that means. Like here in the UK, I think that's about, is that like a year's or like half a year's worth of tuition in university, something like that. It's, you know, it's a crazy. You think about it, it's a crazy freaking amount of money.
I think tuition's even less. I think tuition here would be around €2,000, which would be like a one ISTQB foundation course.
I mean, in Sweden, normal education is free when you go to university. So for us, it's like a big,
so
it's a like big thing to have to pay.
Yeah, but it's like, it's like it makes sure that no individual could ever pay for it. Like you could only ever do it if you work for a company that is.
But I'm curious how, I want to shift this a little bit. Because we have this thing that we've developed now recently, and it's a skill matrix and pathways for people for learning. And some of those things are learning on the job, some of them are certifications, some of them are courses, like you mentioned with RST and things like that. How do they do that in your companies? Are you also being tracked in a way, or being sent on certain pathways and facing certain certificates? Like Shay mentioned, like, oh, if I go learn project management, they will send me to do Prince 2, or I don't know, what's the other one called, IPMA or something. Are there things like that formalized in your companies that you're like,
you're poking a really sore spot for me, because I had like my first one-on-one with my manager the other week there. Like, been here for half a year, but both of us were a little bit devil may care about it. And so we've got this platform, this online platform where like you need to fill in all of your goals and shit for the year. And like I hadn't done that. And then I had my one-on-one with him, and he was like, right, okay, you know, you don't have to put it on the platform. Like, that's just for you, really. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And sort of kind of half did it, but like we're meant to take care of our own learning journey. And I'm like, well, I'm taking care of my own learning journey. Like, I'm just not documenting it anywhere.
No, but are you like compared to like what a tester should be according to your company, and then you fill in your skills? And
no, because technically I'm not even a tester. Like they call my specific job a quality engineer, but technically I'm an IT expert B. So I'm like nobody even
IT expert B. You can't unsee that now.
Which is no, absolutely can't. Which is funny, because I don't feel like an IT expert at all. I don't feel like an expert at anything. Okay, whatever. Probably that's why I'm at the B level, like second rate. But yeah, no, like you couldn't even tell that I'm a tester by my formal job title. So no, absolutely not. We're just left to our own devices.
All right.
I think there's always a push there's been in many of the organizations I've been in, there's almost always been a push by some manager to go, hey, let's get together and have a skills matrix for everybody, so we all know that everybody's limitations and their strengths, and that'll be great, won't it? Yeah, you know, let's all do it. And everybody goes, yeah, that's a fucking great idea, let's do it. Anyway, we're going to the pub.
Yeah,
you know, and that's how far it's
measured once, and then it just dies.
Yeah. And the skill. I mean, I can appreciate for you, Sana, like your organization sells you into an other companies. So knowing what is sellable, that's really good. And you know, we had that in one of the consultancies I worked for. But beyond that, I mean, I'm not sure if there's something like that in EasyJet, certainly for the people at the engineering manager level, possibly for some of the people who are, for the testers in the third parties that we use. We have skills matrices available for them. But yeah, beyond that, no.
Yes. So the reason I was asking is actually a bit of a story time. So the group that's busy with learning and development, and I put my oar in on agile testing, and they came up with this beautiful program, and with like 3 levels. And as a senior in the organization, I'm supposed to be at the top of that level. And I recently filled in our own skill matrix. I did not do well in terms of either certifications or skills. And I got such an imposter syndrome thing where I was like, do I even know how to do anything? Like, what am I even, like, we're asking juniors to do and be certified in more things than I currently even am. Like, and it's not hard and fast, it's a guidance, but I felt like this big after having looked at that list. I was like,
There is an element of that, isn't there? I mean, I can't do
Will-
automation testing, and so, you know, to see somebody who's like, oh yeah, you know, I can practically, you know, write assembly language, and it's like, cool, and you're a junior tester in this organization, holy shit, you know, wow, do I feel inadequate. So yeah, I can get that.
Yeah, so like, did we age out of something, or like?
But then, you know, look, go ahead, Phil, I've interrupted you twice now, sorry.
No. Does filling it in have any kind of consequences for you? Or like, do you not even need to fill in?
Well, one of the consequences, I think, has been that I don't feel as cynical about now going back and doing this testing foundational thing again, which has been 16 years ago. And I am going to do it. So I do feel that is an interesting result of that measurement, where I'm like, well, if I'm asking everybody that I guide and coach in agile testing to do this thing, then I want to have done the thing, so that I can very professionally either bash it with a lot of grounded arguments, or actually enthusiastically endorse it, or something in between. So I'm kind of going back to basics a little bit. I don't have to, but yeah, that feeling, seeing that list did trigger me, like maybe some of these are worth revisiting as a body of knowledge to see how they've changed.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, so ISTQB is something I've described to somebody. It's like, right, it's like learning how to drive, right? So you do all of these, like all of your lessons in learning how to drive and everything like that, and you do your you know, you get your driver's license, and as soon as you hit the roads, you know that you're not going to drive how you learned as a learner driver, are you? Because there's the road laws, and then there's the laws of the road, and that's kind of the same in testing. You know, ISTQB is that equivalent. It's our formal language, it's our formal testing thing, and same with perhaps this foundations course. It's like, it's the formal way of learning testing, but the way it's done in the real world is this.
Yeah, that's very true.
Totally agree. Yeah. So that's a little story time for you.
Nice
one.
Yeah.
Always want our story. Yes, please, Vela. You always.
Hang on. Let's play the Vela story time tune.
Nice. All right. Okay. So back to the Christmas party. Back to last year's Christmas party. We did what we called the unwanted items bingo, which was basically a little raffle, and they had asked everyone who came to the party to bring something from home which they weren't really using anymore. I'm sure everybody can feel where this story is going from 20 miles away, but right, they'd asked everyone like to bring some stuff that you weren't really using anymore, and that way we could have like a little raffle with prizes, but like eco-friendly, because we're producing any new stuff. And so I brought like one of those little phone chargers that I got at a conference for like wireless charging, that I thought at the time, oh, I'm sure my new phone will have this function, and then it didn't. So I was like, okay, somebody else can have this, is great. And I went back home with a really cool wooden fake deer head, you know, like the one that you put in the wall of a hunting lodge. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And actually it was my manager who won it, and he was like, oh, I can't be bothered taking this home, like it's too unwieldy to take on the bike. And I was like, can I have it because I really like it? He was like, yes, you can, but only. And I was like, oh shit, what's he gonna say? And then he reached and grabbed like a big ass T-Man book. It's like, it's this thing. He grabbed it from somewhere. I don't know if he was like hiding it all that time to play whatever prank on me, but like he just reached out and grabbed it, and he was like, yes, but only if you take this as well.
Oh, carrot and stick, eh?
And the thing is, I'd had a few beers at that point, so like I was just walking around town. I'd had a few beers, and I was attending another Christmas party after this one, so I was walking around town with like the big wooden deer head under one arm, and like the T-Man book stuffed in my backpack, and it was really heavy. And like afterwards, like I binned it at home. I binned it, and I was like, I could have binned it right there and then. I didn't even need to drag it.
You took it home.
I went to a second Christmas party, and then I traveled all the way home with a T-Man book in my bag that I then binned.
I woke up with a deer head in a book, and I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, one of those nights.
Yeah.
And then I actually really regretted binning it the other day because I was doing a little bit of DIY in the home, and I needed something as like a surface to do a little bit of hammering on. And I was using a tea towel earlier because I don't really have a lot of tools in the house, but I was really damaging the tea towel. I was like, oh, this is maybe a bit of shame. So I was like, if only I hadn't been that team up.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Team curse you.
Here you
Come
go.
back,
Like,
all is forgiven.
you know, ISTQB, syllabi, and TMAP books, great anvils. Like, just keep them around in case
Oh, man.
you do need to do some DIY at home.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Life
They
got-
lessons.
Multiple usages out of them. That's awesome.
I was thinking, like, if we ever had a Christmas party like that at my place, and it was a useless thing, I might bring along my ISTQB certificate and just, you know, put a bit of tape across it, your name here, you know.
Oh, nice.
Do you actually have a paper certificate?
I do, laminated and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I do too.
I'm looking around in all my crap on the floor, and I literally can't. I did have my folder of certificates, and I saw it the other day because, funnily enough, for one of the contracts I did, they asked for all the frickin' certificates from all of my qualifications and things. You know, like my I failed university certificate, and I once did rapid software testing certificate, and I once did ISTQB certificate, and all the rest of that shit. And they literally asked for pictures of it, so I have a folder of those in, and yeah, I have a lovely laminated ISTQB certificate.
That's wild. And I'm actually starting to doubt whether or not I'm really certified or not, because I don't think I have any of that on paper. I thought they were all digital.
I don't think that. I think
It's
they
just
started.
compared to Shay and me, you're such a newbie.
Yeah, I also have it on
that's it.
paper. But
See the grey. See the grey.
See that?
I'm a youngster.
You were still in triangle
Yeah.
trousers when I was doing ISTQB, mate.
the advanced ones I only got PDF format, so I'm sure you're still satisfied with it.
Okay,
It's just that
that's good.
Yeah.
my first one I got.
Also, why do you care? Like,
Fair enough.
Yeah. Don't make me
Yeah.
take it again. Don't make me take it again. Don't make me take it.
The really funny thing with my ISTQB certificate is that I used to work for a company that had a mother company in Poland, and we had someone come up and give us the course in Sweden, but then we had to go to Poland to take the test. So I've got my ISTQB certificate in English and in Polish.
That's so cool.
So I have the paper in Polish as well.
also, sorry, but your intonation of mother company, like mother company, it still sounded such like you're going to say something so different.
Yeah. You bunch of mother companies.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
So is that a direct translation then from Swedish? Just like sidebar, because obviously we call it headquarters. In Swedish, do you call it mother company?
In Sweden, you would call it a mother company.
Okay.
That's
All right.
That's
adorable.
probably why.
Yeah.
It's like,
All right. So, are there any certifications that you do still want to get? Is this such a thing that like, are we all collectively over it? Like, I'm still curious about a few, but is there anything that you would be like, well, maybe that one?
Not a testing one, or maybe some of the like. Oh, what is the one that is it Janet Gregory?
oh yeah, that one I'd like to take
the
as well.
testing
And if only Chris was here, because he's qualified in it.
Yeah,
he's like
but
one of the
that's-
guys, isn't he?
A testing fellow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Testing
an
fellowship,
agile
yeah.
testing fellowship.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really good one. I would actually quite like that.
Yeah.
So interestingly, that body of knowledge, I have it right here because I'm actively using it. It's
Fair
about
enough.
knowing this thing, the agile testing guide for testers in agile teams.
Really? Is that what it's about?
It's mostly being part of that fellowship is knowing that stuff. But I haven't done the fellowship, so I'm not sure if it's a 30 multiple choice questions kind of thing. I got the impression it wasn't, but yeah.
Because I know
Only
they
we
also
knew
do
someone.
the trainings.
Yeah, we do know someone. He can tell us.
Yeah. No, because they also do the training. So I always thought that
Yeah,
the
they also do
trainings
training.
I thought they were different from just the agile testing book. I thought there was
It's part of it. Like, of course, most of this book is also about the whole team testing approach, which they are all
Yeah.
about in the fellowship. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
lots and lots of overlap. It's not one-to-one the same, But I have looked at getting that fellowship, and there's 2 ways you can do it. You can do the course indeed, or you can take a test and test your knowledge. So yeah, I wonder if the test is like a 30 multiple choice thing with a certificate at the end. I don't think so, but it's an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah.
For sure.
All right, that's cool. Veerle, have you got anything, or Hannah?
I mean, I'd also like to add the one with Janet Gregory and Lisa Crispin for sure. That sounds like a good one.
I'm hearing a joint effort coming up.
Yeah,
that might be fun. Yeah. 9 out of 10 testers do.
The Agile Fellowship. That would be such chaos, and I think Janet and Lisa would be up for it, though.
Live streaming from the classroom. Here we go. Welcome to chaos, people.
I think that one would be cool, but I'm also at the same time, I'm kind of like, isn't it a little bit childish? Because I think Janet and Lisa are cool and know what they're talking about. Like, isn't it still a bit childish to want their certificate when I've just been shitting on certificates for like 45 minutes? So I'm like, rather than wanting the certificate, I guess I would just want the knowledge and the skills. And I saw that in the chat as well. Christian said, like, I'm interested in a Scrum certified developer, but for the course, not the paper. And I was thinking about that before when you asked, like, is there any certificate you would want? I'm like, no, but there's plenty of skills that I would want. Like on Test Automation University as well, they've got all of these levels, and the levels have got like really cool names. I'm like, yeah, obviously I would love to be a Kraken, but not necessarily because I gained that many points on that platform. Like, just gaining the points, you can do it by just guessing the answers. Like, I don't really care about that. What I want is to have the tasty knowledge that entitles me to the certificate or to the title of Kraken.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, Veerle, you are our Kraken. Come on.
Yeah.
You know.
Honorary title bestowed.
I mean.
Oh yeah, that's it. Hang on, I'll just do that with my beard, shall
I? Yeah. And I'll be honest, like, I will jump through certain hoops if that means it is something that gets me an interesting new assignment. That's another place of learning. And to get there, I will go get a cert just to get through the door. And I have the privilege and position that I can do that easily. So that I think is helpful. And yeah, like I said, I am curious about some of these newer, where they've actually updated things. And I'm going to take a look. But yeah,
hey,
like I said,
so you see Simon's post there, and you know, so Sarah, if I recall correctly, she's a qualified like education specialist, isn't she? She was a teacher, I think. I can't remember, but yeah, so
her name at all.
she is Richard Bradshaw's partner, I think. Sorry guys if I'm getting this wrong, but yeah, I know, I happen to know she comes from an education background, so that's really back up there. You know, that's you know, we're pretty much saying a lot of this, aren't we? Like the programs are too rigid and slow to evolve, and they don't focus on how to apply the learning theory, which is what we absolutely touched on there, and it's influenced by stakeholders. Gemini anyway. So yeah.
Oh, but it is so true, because to be quite fair, the academy is a whole separate entity, corporate wise. So there is a distance there from practicality, and it is one of the things that communities of practice try to bridge. But there is generally just one point of contact from the field to the academy that has a look at courseware, certification, and things like that. So there is literally distance between the two. And definitely that, will slow down changes to programs like that and also make them feel less relevant. I do think that is an issue. On the other hand, people actually working in the field, where the hell are you going to find the time to put together a certification program?
Well, we haven't even touched on that, have we? It's like, all of our companies go, hey, yeah, we'd love you to be certified. And you're like, cool. Okay, so Friday afternoons I'm going to be learning. And they're like, whoa.
We have work for you to do.
Oh, sorry. 100% utilization. Otherwise, we can't charge for you. No. You got to do this at home. And you're like, at home with my kid. Have you seen my kids? Have you seen those feral little bastards over there? How the fuck am I going to learn with those guys around me? Are you nuts? It's like,
All right, well, we have a whole session on that one. Anyone who wants to hear us rant about that, it's the personal development episode. There's a budget for that. We did it.
True.
We did it last year.
Yeah.
Go watch that. It's all about how to get time to train. It's hilarious too.
Steve is asking us a really cool question. He says, I think you four should create a new certification. What would you put in it? What would we put in it?
Right. It'd be full of bullshit, that's for sure. I'm an Australian, of course.
I was going to say, we're all going to be unmasked frauds now.
Yeah.
Okay, but so
I think it's got to have swirly letters.
And okay, but a new certification for testers, I'm gonna assume that we're talking about. What would we put in there?
It's a really interesting one.
It would be much more oriented towards how to learn stuff quickly as you're doing a job.
Oh no, we lost Hannah.
No, we lost our mod. Oh Christ.
I saw that she posted, I was like, she'll be back soon. All right, it's cool. We'll fill the time. No, Sonny, you were making a really good point.
Yeah, so it's about learning while doing. So the things change so fast, and that you get thrown into situations that are so frequently not what you trained or learned for, that I think the main thing to learn is how to pick up your testing skills or transmute them or configure them to a new situation. So knowing how to tailor learning while doing.
I love that because I also feel like every time I'm on a new job or a new assignment or a new project or product, you get all these new tools that you've never used before. And I actually mentioned this on one of the Slack workspaces that I'm on recently. It's like, I need to do all this stuff with SOAP UI. I don't know how it works. It feels like I've been in testing for 6 years. I should know this by now. And all the reactions were like, well, I've been in testing for 20 years. I've never used SOAP UI. Like, why?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like every time you need to use a new tool and it feels terrifying, like, setting you up for success with learning how to use a new tool, that would be amazing.
Yeah, while doing, which I think is the operational part, is like, you're gonna have to know that occasionally you're just gonna take a stab at things. And there are some times when you're just gonna have to say, look, boss, I need to learn this thing before you progress me any further in this assignment. And knowing the difference between the two, where you can be like, all right, I will, just mess around with SOAP UI for a day and see where I go. Or do I say, look, boss, you need me to be good at this. You need to at least get me a coach or get me a certification in SOAP UI usage. Knowing the difference between the two while doing your job, I think is the clue, because we will be asked, like Shay said, you need to be delivering value to your team as you are also picking these things up. We rarely have the luxury anymore of just doing the certificate.
I think also like something around the communication, having helping, tips on having the guts to sort of say things like we sort of espouse here, of like, have courage to say to your boss, I need to learn in my work time. And also things like, I am overstacked here. I'm over 100% utilized in my time, and that's not cool. I need to back off. Help me out here. Things like that. So those kind of bits of communication, being able to sort of like have the guts to do that.
If it was going to be like a testing specific certification, I would absolutely want risks to be covered and all aspects of them. So not just identifying them, because I feel like that's a problem you get with all types of risk analysis. So the traditional PRA, but also like risk storming, you do the risk analysis and then you never refer back to it. So I would like more focus on how to make the risks that you've identified a part of your day-to-day testing activities.
Very cool. Very cool. I think we've lost Hannah.
We've lost Hannah again.
Oh no, she is still here. But she's very blurry.
I
think
can
Happy
hear
switched
you,
it over to the 28.8K modem.
I think it's because.
We'll never know.
We'll never
It'll
know.
be a mystery forever.
We're gonna have to end our session ourselves, I think. I think we'll manage. Our moderator is very choppy right now.
Hannah, come back to us.
Hannah, come back to us.
I can hear you, but I don't think you can hear me.
No, you're very choppy, but it's rough.
Let's try. Hannah, can you try and close the session?
Yeah.
Yes, I can thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. And let's go lap around and see. Let us know how we can contact you. So, Sanne, do you want to start?
All right, this is very much like a puzzle interpreting what you're saying, but I think you said, can you round us off? You can find me at Simply Sanne on most of the socials. You can also just send me a message through any of the Slacks that we're on together. And just let me know what certificates you think are valuable or not. And creative names for ISTQB are very, very welcome. On to Veerle.
You can find me sometimes, but increasingly rarely on Twitter as Witch of the Test. You can find me on multiple Slack spaces, among which are Ministry of Testing. And you can email me at verhagenveerle@gmail.com. Yes, I'm actually doing this.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm gonna be the Anna from No Such Thing as a Fish.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Reference.
Oh, that's the coolest podcast. I love it. Yeah.
Right,
so I'm at Shay Mouse on pretty much all of the socials. I'm not on Mastodon yet, but it's on my to-do list, which is just behind me there. And you can email me if you can find me, but find me on LinkedIn, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on wherever on the socials. Do subscribe. Do like this, we enjoy doing it. Do feedback to us. It would be lovely to hear from you. We also have a 9 out of 10 testers space on the Tester Hangout Discord as well. Yeah. So we can hang out with you there. And Sebastian is one of our, the most across the board with us. So, shout out to him. There you go.
And Hannah?
Yeah.
Hannah.
I mean, you can find me at LinkedIn. Just search for Hannah Schlander and you'll find me. That's the safest way to see me. Right. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but
you're decent. But I'll do the shout out for next month's topic. So next time we're talking about how to create space for juniors. Should we make more room for reverse mentoring? How do we make it very safe and comfortable for new folks to onboard, to come in, to join communities, and create enough of a support, being interruptible ourselves, and put down our own microphones maybe, and let them have a voice. That's going to be maybe a tough one for this group. So we'll be talking about how do you actually create space for new folks to join the industry. 22nd of March, same time, we'll all be here. Or at least most of us.
Yeah, we'll certainly have some of us. And I guess that leaves us just to say, are we off yet?
Are we off yet?